So, it's 200,000, it's a spaceship.
The year 200,000 exactly. They like going to round numbers.
200,000. 200,000. With mankind right in the middle. He's your boyfriend.
Not anymore.
I don't know which is worse, Adam being a wuss, Rose being a cow, or the Doctor being jealous. Let's do one each.
There you go, pocket money. Don't spend it all on sweets.
First of all, that must be illegal. And second of all, it's unlimited credit. He can't spend it all on anything, let alone sweets.
First date.
No, she already dumped him after he fainted.
What's Satellite 5?
Oh, come on, how could you get on board without knowing where you are?
Look at me, I'm stupid.
I get them meant to be brainwashed cattle, but come on.
Are you a test? Some sort of management test kind of thing?
You've got me. Well done. You're too clever for me.
And now they should know he's not a test, because if he was a test, he would never admit he's a test, even if he does have proof that he's a test. Also, psychic paper ex machina.
All workers have to be versed in company promotion.
It's later established that they don't have any competition, so why do they all need to be versed in promotion? There are many issues with this scene, but I'm going to focus on Baby Bomina. Really?
Something fictional. Those people.
How does the editor, portrayed by Simon Pegg, know this? Is his spider plant man sense tingling?
Phone him up.
But that's 198,000 years ago.
Honestly, try it. Go on.
The phone now raises a lot of questions. How does it know how to phone 2012? At least when they phoned Rose's mum in 2005 it made some sense because that's where the phone was from. But this is far too unexplained, and we have to make assumptions like the fact that the phone is now telepathic or something, which just starts to get too stupid for an assumption. Adam is acting way too suspicious at this point. He's actually not up to anything yet.
Security check cleared.
No, something's wrong. I can taste it.
Nicholas Angel seems way too sure on this fact.
Now, everybody behave. We have a management inspection. How do you want it, by the book?
In the event of an inspection, you're supposed to act normally, not turn around to the inspector and say, "Should we do it right this time?"
Okay, keep it calm. Don't show off for the guests.
Excuse me, Kettle. Mr. Potcold, he says you're black. You should change the password to your brain regularly, not just stick to the default.
This technology's wrong.
Trouble?
Oh yeah.
Right now, Shaun of the Dead is listening to this conversation and not finding that suspicious.
Come off it, Suki. I wasn't even halfway. What was that for?
Sorry, you must...
Bear in mind they were only going for about a minute or two, and it was barely even halfway. Does that mean that the normal shift only works about 4 or 5 minutes? Because that sounds like a damn good program. Also, can't they continue or start again? Sorry, scratch that. Shouldn't they continue and start again? I mean, it is their job after all.
Come on. This is it. Come on. Oh my God, make it me. Come on, say my name. Say my name. Say my name.
Now, I have a small suspicion here. It's a very small suspicion. Don't know where it's coming from. But I think Kathika might want a promotion somehow.
Suki McRae Cantrell. Please proceed to floor 500.
Leave it. Floor 500.
How the hell did you manage that? I'm above you.
Well, bearing in mind that they believe they're in the middle of a management inspection, Suki's been kind and friendly and the sort of person you want to work with, and you've been an absolute cow nobody would want to work with no interpersonal skills and an obsession with the promotion. If I was that management test, I would be saying to promote Suki as well.
The walls are made of gold.
The walls are made of gold is actually a really bad motivator. There must be more motivation than the wallpaper choice. I mean, there must be more money, more power, things like that, which seems like they should come up first. Are we really getting the obsession that Kathika's got off of the wallpaper choice?
take the TARDIS key, you know, just in case it gets a bit too much.
So Rose lets him go off alone with the TARDIS key, the superphone, and unlimited money and expects him not to be tempted. Right, I'm going to say that if Adam does something really stupid, spoiler alert, he does, then Rose is to blame. Again, Adam acting suspicious. He's not up to anything yet. He hasn't started his plan yet. Nothing is going on. Why is he acting suspiciously?
We won't. Once you go to floor 500, you never come back.
Except you commented earlier that you thought the Doctor was from floor 500. Also, really, you're obsessed with going to a place that you're never allowed to leave, and the only justification you give when you're asked about it is gold walls. Here, she drops her torch very clearly. Here, it's back in her hand, and again, she seems to drop it. And then in the next shot, she has it absolutely perfectly in her hand. See? And the fact that the decayed makes no sense. They're kept fresh in other areas, so surely they either need to stay fresh, or they would get replaced.
These include reading and archaeology. I'm not an expert or anything, I just like digging.
Liar!
Actually, Graham Willie, you have no proof that she is a liar about her hobbies. She could be into reading and archaeology.
I work for Satellite 5 because my sister can't afford university, and the pay scheme is really good.
Liar!
Also, rookie mistake. If you're in an interview application, you don't say I want the job for money. That's how you fail job interviews.
Who controls Satellite 5?
Woo! Suki suddenly grew a pair. Also, Suki, or Ira, or whatever her name is, has no reason to believe that Benji Dunn is not, in fact, the boss of Satellite 5 at this point.
The Freedom Foundation has been monitoring Satellite 5's transmissions. We have absolute proof that the facts are being manipulated. You are lying to the people.
That sounds like the definition of media to me.
This whole system is corrupt.
Welcome to Earth. Any country, any time period. Bear in mind the confidence and raw power she just had when she was talking to Unkar Platt, and the past as a freedom fighter. She wouldn't just stand there screaming. She would retreat or face it bravely.
Trust me, humanity's been set back about 90 years. When did Satellite 5 start broadcasting?
91 years ago.
Bullshit, he does not know it with that much detail to be able to get it that close. There must have been at least a few years difference.
Student?
Yes, yeah, I'm on a research project from the University of Mars.
The Martian boondocks, typical.
Yep.
One poster for the absolute shite security on Satellite 5, another for Adam looking out with the University of Mars.
Turns out, you've got unlimited credit.
First of all, the fact that he's got unlimited credit doesn't cause any raised eyebrows. I mean, it's not like it's £1 billion or something, it's literally unlimited. Second of all, surely the fact that he doesn't know that he's got unlimited credits raises more than one eyebrow.
There were no indications about him.
Except, you know, the bit when he was talking loudly about how wrong Satellite 5 is.
Check him. Double check him. Triple check him. Quadruple.
I was going to cloister pitch Kirkham for the quadruple being way too much, but then he's about to go and do it for a fifth one, so that reverses the polarity of the cloister on flow. -1.
He is no one.
What? It doesn't exist? Not anywhere?
He is no one.
What about the blonde?
She is no one.
Both of them?
Shouldn't this have rang alarm bells before this? I mean, I'm assuming Satellite 5 has some sort of authorised personnel, and purely them not being on that list should be enough to set alarm bells off, let alone everything else wrong with that.
Well, we all know what happens to non-entities.
No, we don't. These are the first non-entities, and it seems to be an unfathomable idea.
Adam's given up.
As far as you're aware, Adam went to get a little bit of space and calm down, and then you've been ignoring him ever since. Maybe if you'd gone to check on him, you could have stopped him doing something really, really stupid. Adam acts as though he can see his head, yet he's not in front of a mirror.
We installed the vomitomatic at the same time. Nanotermites have been placed in the lining of your throat. In the event of sickness, they freeze the waste.
First of all, ew! Second of all, why would anyone want that? Third, apparently Adam's been eating kiwi. We didn't want to know that. Fourth, why would that be included free? The two are unlinked, and if we learn anything from the pitch, it's to upsell, not to give things away. Fifth, Adam should sue. He did not request that. He did not know it was going to be installed. And sixth, again, ew!
You should go back downstairs.
Tough.
Perfect response, and why we love Rose, -1.
Satellite 5 contains every piece of information within the fourth great and bountiful human empire. It's not a trace. No birth, no job, not the slightest kiss. How can you walk through the world and not leave a single footprint?
In 2005, Clive was able to find a lot of information about the Doctor. He was just a normal man with 2005 internet, so, you know, I don't think Google was even really a thing back then. Are you telling me that the Ultimate Archive that Reapercheap is on about doesn't have a single mention of the Doctor?
It doesn't matter, because we're off. Nice to meet you. Come on.
Yeah, like the Doctor would ever try and leave.
Yeah.
Why isn't the TARDIS translating the Jagrafess?
The mighty Jagrafess of the Holy Hadrajasic Maxoraptor. I call him Max.
The mighty Jagrafess of the Holy Hagrathaka. What? Who the hell came up with that? Also, Charlie Wolf will never call him Max again.
Now, there's an interesting point. Is a slave a slave? If he doesn't know, he's enslaved.
Yes.
Oh, I was hoping for a philosophical debate. Is that all I'm gonna get?
Yes. Yes.
You're no fun.
Let me out of these manacles, you'll find out how much fun I am.
Nine's cockiness and cheek, as always, is just too good. -1.
But come on. Isn't it a great system? You've got to admire it just a little bit.
Maybe you're right, Hecky Nash. If only it wasn't a system that was already being used 198,000 years before you came up with it.
Bet the Jagrafess hasn't changed a thing.
Come on, Herbert Shrubshaw. You know his name is Max.
What about you? You're not a Jagrafess. You're not a Jagrafess. You're human.
Yeah, well, simply being human doesn't pay very well.
Really? Monetary motivation? Again? Also, on the subject of motivation, we never find out what Max the Jagrafess's motivation is.
I've got the key.
How is that floating?
Today, we are the headlines. We can rewrite history. We can prevent mankind from ever developing.
If time travel was possible in Jack's home era, the 51st century, then why wouldn't it still be possible in the 2001st century?
You should have promoted me years back.
By this point you know that promotion is death, so you should be grateful you weren't promoted. If we ignore all the other stupid stuff that's happening because the heating system got changed, how on earth does that affect Rose's handcuffs? That has to be one of the best lines ever. -1.
Sir, if it's all the same to you, I think I'll resign. Bye then.
First off, how is Suki still alive after being killed, then disconnected from the system? Secondly, Buck should be able to easily overpower her. And finally, it's a shame that no one on the Enterprise can beam you up, Scotty.
To stay and explain it, no one's going to believe me.
Well, they might start believing a lot of things now. Human race should accelerate. All back to normal.
But why? Surely they should progress at the same rate, just 90 years behind. Also, you're leaving them without any sort of news or information network. That should have some massive ramifications. Shame we won't see any more on that. Wait a minute.
It's not actually my fault, because you were in charge.
You're supposed to be clever, but that's the most stupid thing you could say here. And actually, as I said earlier, he has a very good point. It is not really his fault. Rose is to blame. Give him a superphone, give him a TARDIS key, and give him access to the future unwatched on his first trip out. I mean, that is just a massive gingerbread house. Anyone would fall into the trap.
1 second of that message could have changed the world.
You could have just deleted the message.
I only take the best. I've got roles.
Foreshadowing.
Oh, let me look at you. Oh, 6 months.
He was only working for Van Staten for 6 months. He seemed like a long-term fixture.
Yesterday. Isn't it funny? The time goes by like that.
Really, it took literally under 20 seconds for somebody to snap their fingers. Bonus round time! So, first of all, we have to give a -1 because of the simple fact that it manages to round off and set up very well. We round off with Adam's story, we round off from Dalek, and we also set up for the series finale. They do that very well, so that's got to be a -1 cloister. We then have to add one. I feel that Simon Pegg did very well. I think that Simon Pegg was a good choice. But the editor was characterless. He was not very good. It was Simon Pegg's performance spot on, but the editor was badly written, badly done. It's just I find the editor bland. Same with the Jagrafess. So that's actually going to be a -1 for the editor, but a +1 for the performances. I mean, we had Christopher Eccleston back at his finest, we had Rose, we had Simon Pegg. It was just the characters that were flawed here. So that is a final count of 72. And a fate of explosion.
Massive heat in a massive body.
You will like, share, and subscribe.
Massive bang.
Father's Day, a very emotional episode, but also one probably rife with historical inaccuracies.